To the 70-year-old crying in an empty house, I am sitting with you. I see you sitting there in the quiet of this empty house. The afternoon light is beginning to fade, casting long shadows across the floor, and the silence around you feels incredibly heavy. I hear the quiet, steady ticking of the clock on the wall, a sound that seems to echo too loudly in rooms that used to be filled with the noise of daily life, with footsteps, conversations, and the chaotic beauty of younger years. Now, it is just you and the profound stillness. And in this stillness, I see the tears welling up in your eyes. I see them fall, one by one, trailing down cheeks that have weathered 70 years of living. You wipe them away quickly, as if you are afraid someone might catch you, as if you are somehow doing something wrong by weeping. But I want you to know, right now, in this very second, I am sitting right beside you. I am here, holding this space with you, and I am not asking you to stop crying. You are 70 years old. You have lived through seasons of unimaginable joy and valleys of deep, agonizing sorrow. You have carried the weight of the world on your shoulders, providing, protecting, striving, and trying to do your absolute best with the tools you had at the time. Yet right now, the weight you feel is not the physical tiredness of age. It is the deep, invisible exhaustion of the soul. I know exactly what is causing these tears. It is the overwhelming burden of the memories that replay in your mind when the house gets this quiet. It is the sudden, sharp pang of regret for words spoken in haste decades ago, or words left unsaid when you still had the chance. It is the aching wish that you could go back and rewrite certain chapters of your story. I see how you carry this heavy luggage, dragging it from room to room, letting it convince you that your past mistakes define the peace of your present. My beloved child, I want to gently take your hands in mine and tell you something you desperately need to hear. It is completely okay that you are tired. It is deeply understandable that you feel this heavy. For years, you have been told by the world to just keep moving, to stay strong, to keep a stiff upper lip, and not dwell on the past. You have spent decades taking care of others, worrying about your family, managing crises, and putting your own emotional needs on the very bottom of your list. You have built walls around your heart to protect yourself from the pain of broken expectations and fractured relationships. But now, in the stillness of your 70s, those walls have become a prison of isolation. The world rushes by outside your window, moving at a frantic pace, while you sit here feeling entirely left behind, tangled in a web of what-ifs and if-onlys. I have been watching you carry this invisible burden, and my heart aches with profound compassion for you. I was there with you in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and beyond. I saw the moments you tried so hard and felt like you failed. I saw the nights you stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, overwhelmed by guilt over your parenting, your marriage, or the paths you chose to walk. You have convinced yourself that because so much time has passed, those mistakes are permanently engraved in stone, unable to be forgiven, especially by yourself. You look at the empty chairs in your living room, and you see them as monuments to your flaws, rather than simply places where life once happened. You are carrying a lifetime of perceived shortcomings, and it is crushing the beautiful, gentle spirit I created inside of you. But I did not come to sit with you today to judge you, to lecture you, or to tell you to simply get over it. I came to validate every single tear that is falling from your eyes right now. Your pain is real. Your regrets are deeply felt. The sorrow of aging, of facing the quiet reality of an empty house, is a heavy cross to bear, and I do not take it lightly. I see the quiet bravery it takes for you to just get out of bed some mornings when the weight of the past feels suffocating. I want you to take a deep breath right now. Let your shoulders drop. Stop fighting the sadness for just a moment, and let yourself be held by my invisible, unending grace. You have been carrying this heavy stone of guilt for far too long, and you were never meant to carry it to the very end of your journey. I know the deep exhaustion of your soul, and I want to tell you, with all the love in the universe, I am here to help you lay it down. Let us look together at how this heavy weight settled so deeply upon your chest. I know you often ask yourself how the years slipped through your fingers so quickly. It feels like only yesterday that these hallways echoed with running footsteps, slammed doors, and the beautiful, exhausting chaos of raising a family and building a life. You were always moving, always doing, always making sure everyone else had what they needed. In those days, life was a relentless current, pulling you forward through a never-ending checklist of responsibilities, bills, obligations, and expectations. You were simply trying to survive the demanding pace of the world, doing the very best you could to keep the roof over your head and the people you loved safe. But in that constant rushing, something quiet and painful began to happen. The sheer busyness of life started to steal your peace, one small moment at a time, until peace became something you could only dream about. Without even realizing it, you began to build walls. You built them out of necessity at first, out of a need to be strong for everyone else. When you felt overwhelmed, you swallowed your tears. When you made a mistake, pride and the fear of looking weak told you to hide it away instead of asking for help. The world told you that to be a good parent, a good spouse, a good person, you had to have everything perfectly figured out. So, you carried your secret failures and your silent apologies deep inside your own heart. Over the decades, those unspoken words, those unresolved arguments, and those quiet resentments turned into heavy bricks. You stacked them high around your soul to protect yourself. But now, at 70 years old, those very same walls are keeping you isolated in this empty room. The silence of this house is difficult because it finally gives you the time to look at those walls. Without the constant noise of the world to distract you, your mind replays the reel of your past. The relentless antagonist of time tells you that it is too late. The enemy of guilt sits next to you and whispers that you ruined things, that your relationship with your children or your old friends is permanently fractured because of your past blindness or stubbornness. You look back at the moments you lost your temper, the times you were too tired to listen, or the choices you made out of fear, and you judge yourself with a harshness that breaks my heart. You have become your own strictest judge, refusing to grant yourself the very forgiveness you would so easily offer to a stranger. This is the true anatomy of your burden. It is not just the memories of the past. It is the absolute refusal to forgive yourself in the present. Remember when I spoke to the crowds, as recorded in the Gospel of Luke? I asked them a very simple question. Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to his life? I told them to consider the ravens, who do not sow or reap, who have no storeroom or barn, yet they are fully cared for. I said those words because I knew how easily the human heart becomes weighed down by the anxieties of life and the heavy baggage of yesterday. I saw then, just as I see in you right now, how the burden of trying to control everything and fix everything drains the color from your days. You have spent 70 years worrying, striving, and carrying the heavy storerooms of your past mistakes on your own back. You have let the relentless ticking of the clock convince you that because the years have passed, you have somehow run out of grace. But that is a lie of the world, not the truth of my kingdom. You feel the crushing weight of decades, but I do not measure your worth or your future by the calendar on your wall. The guilt you feel right now is real to you, but it is a chain you do not have to wear for one more second. I see the tender, bruised heart hiding behind that wall of regret. You let the modern world convince you that you had to earn your peace by being perfect, by never making a mistake, or by fixing everything before you grew old. But my dear friend, you were never meant to be perfect. You were only ever meant to be mine. Let us look at this heavy luggage you have dragged into your 70s, open it up, and finally acknowledge what is inside, so that we can begin to empty it out forever. I want you to lift your head now and look at me through those tears. We have looked closely at the heavy stones you have been carrying, and we have named the pain that echoes in the quiet of this room. Now, I want to show you something entirely different. The world has taught you a very cruel lie about time. It has convinced you that because the calendar says you are 70 years old, it is simply too late to change the ending of your story. The world says that time is a relentless thief, stealing your chances for reconciliation and locking your past mistakes in an unbreakable vault. But I am the creator of time, and my grace does not operate on a human clock. In my eyes, it is never too late for redemption, and it is never too late for you to experience a profound, breathtaking peace. The time you have left, whether it is days, months, or years, is more than enough for me to rewrite the narrative of your heart. You see me as a distant figure sometimes, a judge keeping a careful ledger of every time you lost your patience, every time you failed to understand your children, and every time you let pride win an argument. But I am your redeemer. My very nature is to restore what is broken and to buy back what was lost. I do not sit in heaven reviewing a tape of your worst moments. When you look back at your past, you see a long list of debts and regrets. When I look at your past, I see a beloved child who was learning, stumbling, and trying to find their way in a broken world. The slate you think is permanently stained was wiped completely clean the moment I stretched out my arms for you. You are holding on to a debt that has already been paid in full. The guilt you feel tightening your chest right now is an illusion. It has no actual power over you unless you choose to keep holding its hand. I am asking you, right here in this living room, to finally let go of the guilt and take my hand instead. Let us imagine all those decades of regret as a heavy, worn-out coat you have been wearing indoors. It is suffocating you. It is keeping you from feeling the warmth of my love. I want you to take that coat off, slip it off your tired shoulders, and let it fall to the floor. You do not need to wear the shame of your 30s, the mistakes of your 40s, or the misunderstandings of your 50s anymore. They are gone. I have cast them as far as the east is from the west. You are completely, entirely, and unconditionally forgiven. And because I have forgiven you so absolutely, you now have my permission and my loving command to finally forgive yourself. The adversary wants you to believe that the final chapters of your life are meant to be a quiet punishment, served in the solitary confinement of an empty house. He wants you to believe that your remaining days are useless. But I tell you that the time you have left is a beautiful, sacred sanctuary. It is a space designed for you to finally rest. Even a single day lived in the total freedom of my grace is a triumph over a lifetime of anxiety. You are still breathing today because I am not finished with you, and because your capacity to love and be loved is not tied to your age. The peace I offer you right now is not a fragile feeling that will disappear when the phone rings or when a difficult memory tries to surface. It is a solid, enduring anchor. It is the deep, settling realization that you are held, you are safe, and your past cannot harm you anymore. The empty chairs in this room do not have to be monuments to loss. They can become spaces where my presence sits with you. You do not have to earn this relief. You do not have to go back and fix every broken thing before you are worthy of my comfort. All you have to do is accept that my mercy is bigger than your history. Breathe out the heavy decades of sorrow and breathe in the gentle, restoring wind of my spirit. We are going to step into tomorrow not as prisoners of the past, but as friends walking together in the light. Now that we have finally taken off that suffocating coat of guilt together, I want us to look at the rest of your day and all the beautiful days still to come with a completely renewed spirit. You are 70 years old, and your remaining years are meant to be a sanctuary of rest, not a cold prison of regret. You do not have to wake up tomorrow morning feeling the same crushing weight pressing down on your chest before you even get out of bed. I am going to walk alongside you, step by gentle step, showing you exactly how to live in this profound new freedom. The path to reclaiming your peace is not complicated, and it certainly does not require you to perform grand gestures, fix the entire world, or become a completely different person. It only requires a willing, tender heart and a few small, deeply loving steps of faith that we are going to take together right now. First, I want you to find a simple piece of paper and a pen. I want you to sit down comfortably at your kitchen table, take a deep breath, and write out the specific things that have been keeping you awake in the middle of the night. Write down the mistakes you feel you made with your children, the lingering regrets you harbor about your marriage, the financial anxieties that knot your stomach, and the harsh words you desperately wish you could take back. Pour all of that hidden, festering pain out of your tired mind and onto that physical page. Do not hold a single thing back from me, because I already know every word, and I love you just the same. Once you have written it all down, I want you to take that paper in your hands and physically tear it into tiny pieces. As you throw those torn pieces into the trash, I want you to say aloud to me that you are finally releasing your past into my hands. Watch those pieces fall, and know with absolute certainty that my forgiveness has already consumed them. They no longer exist in my eyes, and they no longer have any right to exist in your mind. Next, we are going to actively change the atmosphere of this house. The profound silence of these rooms has been your adversary for far too long, acting as a blank canvas for your deepest anxieties and fears. I want you to fill this space with warmth and life again. Turn on a radio or find some soft, uplifting music that brings a gentle, nostalgic smile to your face. Let the beautiful melodies wash over the quiet corners of your living room and down the empty hallways. Open a window and let the fresh air and the afternoon sunlight pour inside to chase away the shadows. And in this new, lighter atmosphere, I want you to start talking to me out loud. You never need formal prayers or perfectly constructed sentences to reach me. Just talk to me exactly as you would to a dear, constant companion sitting across the room. Tell me about the birds you see resting outside your window. Tell me what you are preparing for dinner, or simply tell me that your heart is feeling a little bit lighter today. I am always listening, and I absolutely love the sound of your voice. You will quickly realize that this house is not empty at all, because the creator of the universe has taken up residence right there beside you. Finally, if there is a gentle, persistent tug in your heart right now about a specific person, a child, an estranged relative, or an old friend you have been too ashamed or too proud to contact, I want to help you bridge that gap. The adversary whispers that they do not want to hear from you, that entirely too much time has passed, or that the bridge is burned beyond any hope of repair. But my grace specializes in restoring what the world calls hopelessly broken. You do not need to call them and attempt to perfectly resolve decades of complicated history in one single conversation. That is far too heavy a burden for today. I just want you to reach out and say a simple hello. Send a short, loving message, mail a simple greeting card, or make a brief phone call just to say that you are thinking of them and that you love them. Let my pure love lead the way. If they are not ready to respond perfectly right away, that is completely okay, and it is not your fault. Your only responsibility is to bravely extend the olive branch. I will personally take care of the soil in their heart. You have spent 70 years fighting difficult battles, carrying unbearable burdens, and trying so hard to be strong for everyone else. It is time for you to finally rest. It is time for you to let me be your unwavering strength, your ultimate redeemer, and your absolute peace. You are so profoundly cherished, deeply forgiven, and never alone. Leave your burden in the comments below. Type, "I receive your peace, Lord." And please subscribe to the channel so we can continue to walk together every single day.